The computer you're looking at was built in 2019, purposely built for video editing. At the time, I installed 32 gigs of RAM. It is now 2023, and I'm starting to do a lot more 4K video work. So I'm discovering that I'm starting to max out the memory that's in the system, and it's time to upgrade. When upgrading your computer RAM, you'll need your computer manual or motherboard manual if it's a custom build. This will tell you the maximum amount of RAM that can be installed and the available slots. Then you need to see what type of DDR memory you will need to buy. And remember, you can't mix those. And that should also be included in the manual. It'll also tell you whether it's single or dual channel memory. And again, you can't mix those, at least not for best performance. The manual will also include information on the allowable frequency for your RAM. Another thing to consider is latency or timing. Generally, the lower the number, the better, but ideally you want it to match whatever memory you're keeping with your computer. To determine what's actually installed on your computer and to get more information on what's in your system, you can download a free program from CPU ID or CCleaner. Before I could buy the 32 gigs of RAM, I needed to find them. The problem was, Crucial had stopped making the ballistic RAM sticks that I had used in the computer. And while I could still buy 32 gigs of Crucial DDR4, the speed wasn't the same as the ballistic Crucial that was installed, which meant I had to find comparable RAM sticks from another vendor. My search led to Corsair. It sells a DDR4. It's 2 sticks, 16 gigabytes each for a total of 32. It's at 32 megahertz, which is the exact speed that I currently have in the system. And more important, the latency speed is comparable to what I have in my computer. After purchasing the memory sticks, the next challenge is actually installing them. And as you can see, there are currently 2 sticks of RAM in the system. It's dual channel, so there are 2 slots that are still empty. The problem is, cooling fan is right above it, so I'm not sure I have clear access to this. I'm gonna take off the fan, which should be fairly easy. I don't want to take off the whole cooling tower because that's actually attached to the CPU, so I would have to remove that, reapply thermal paste, and it becomes a much harder job. So it's always best to install the memory sticks that you need when you're building your computer as opposed to after the fact, just because of issues like this. Removing the fan involves finding the clip, pulling back and out. That lifts it out of the way. You do the same thing to the bottom clip. And now note that the cooling fan is attached to a power cable. And I'm going to see if I can work this out through the top of this case. With the computer on its side, this is the upper portion of the computer, and we see our RAM card here, a space, another one here, clear access to this one, pretty much the same with this one. This one's a little tighter, but I think I'm going to be able to get it in there. So first thing we have to do is get the memory sticks out of the package. We open up the package. There's a blister pack. There is user's guide and safety information, and then the 2 memory sticks. And you'll notice that they are notched, so they only go in one way. You cannot mix DDR4 with DDR3 or DDR5. The notch should prevent you from mixing that. But it's got an aluminum case over the actual memory card, and that's to dissipate heat as it's being used. So we just take these out and we should be able to put them in. And in buying memory, I opted not to have any RGBs, just an unnecessary expense for something that is more functional than it is aesthetic. On this ASRock motherboard, it's a Z390 Taiyachi. You just pull on the clip on the side, just pull out. there's not a clip on the other side. On the other motherboards may be different, but on this one, you only have a clip on one side. There's just a guide on the other side. So we take our card, and in this case, got to make sure that that notch lines up. And so I bring it across, drop it in on the far side guide, line it up over here, and then when you push down, and you should hear a slight click when that card goes in. By the way, don't go thinking that it's always facing the front of the label. In our case, these are going in this way. Avoid making any contact with the copper strip on the bottom. And now we have our clip moved over, and we're going to slide this one underneath. I can sort of see where I'm going in on the far side. And make sure it's aligned in the groove. And it should go down fairly easy. There, you heard that little click. So now we have 32 gigs installed. Things to note when you're installing this is if you're finding that it's difficult to get the card in, then maybe it's in backwards, because there's that notch again and that has to line up. So make sure that's correctly done. Make sure that you are aligned with the far end connection and the clip, or if it has double clips, that you're aligned in the guides, and then gently push in. The clips should come up, and usually they click when they're in place. And that way you know that these are seated, and then you're done. Now all we have to do is install the fan, put the sides back on it, and we have 64 gigs of working RAM. You also may want to just blow some air across the cooling fans and get them all free of dirt and dust so that you can maintain your system's cooling efficiency. Once everything's reconnected to the computer, we turn on the power, we hit F2 to call up the BIOS. On the display, we see the BIOS recognizes 32 gigs of RAM memory. With our new memory recognized, we're ready to exit out and reboot into the operating system. If you found this video interesting or useful, give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, join the subscription team, and as always, thank you ever so much for watching.